we're going to just let you hit a few to warm up. Do you want to hit some of your own first?
No, I had a few outside.
Happy enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
So
just
we
wing it.
kind of know, mate, that you are in between a certain type of, there's obviously all these shafts here.
Yeah.
70% of them I can park to the side because I already know your speeds. You know about lie angle, massively important. We're looking at spin rates.
Yep.
Ultimately, also, it's going to come down to looks, feel, price as
Like,
well.
Everything already feels a lot smaller.
It is,
in
and
terms of
remember, you don't
profile.
want to make it harder.
Yeah.
P790, they've done it very well. It looks like a very traditional club, but there is a bit of forgiveness.
Yep.
And it's hot. Now, the other one that I wouldn't say pushing towards you, but a lot of success out of that ZXi5. Again, it's got the aesthetics of a very, very beautiful blade,
Yep.
but definitely a little bit more forgiveness and hundreds cheaper. So
Yeah.
what I found up here is people that come up, especially for Titleist, and I'm a huge Titleist fan, I'm a Titleist ambassador, I love it, but the numbers are so similar, and this is 200-300 quid more, or cheaper, sorry. So for your, that may come into it. I think if the numbers are so small and you like the feel and the looks, well, then obviously 300 quid's better in your pocket than mine.
Oh, that's true.
I am also going to fit for you getting better.
Yep.
Okay,
That's the
so
goal.
remember, for example, like you now know about lie angle and things like that. Like say, for example, this machine was showing up that you were, say, too flat.
Yep.
Okay, but yet your misses were left. You would be very careful in actually making it upright, because that's going to make it go further. So we're also going to be looking at ball flight and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I've put a green out at 170. It's 15 degrees, so it's a lovely day.
Yep.
It's nice. Remember, you've been up here before. You can probably knock 2% off this just because there's no turf interaction. You hit away.
Cool.
I'm also going to purposely not say too much about your technique, okay?
That's fair.
Because I don't want you thinking about that. This is about you hitting balls and hopefully hitting some good ones. Strike that well.
Hit it well, just
Yep.
hold it a touch.
Okay. Had you hit the 790s before?
No.
Okay. And remember, if you are trying to hit a draw, remember where the ball should be starting in relation to the white line, okay? I know
Yeah.
sometimes outside it might be a little bit easier. Right, give us that there, club. I'm going to dot this one up now. I just wanted you to hit a few shots, just without looking at any data. This is
Yep.
going to show us everything now. What do you think of the feel?
Feels okay whenever you hit
Yep.
it. Well, I wouldn't say well, but maybe hit it a bit closer to the face, the center of the face.
Yeah. I think also anytime you're getting a fitting, it'll also show you what your tendencies are going to be.
Yeah.
At the minute anyway,
Say at the minute, with the tendency to go left, I feel like I try to maybe intentionally open the face a touch at a dress, so it's almost finding that balance right now.
Okay. Right, all we need is some good deliveries. I'm going to remind you, if you can, walk off the mat, go through your routine, you know. And when you're practicing, you should be doing that also, mate, because if not, all you're doing is hitting golf balls. Do you know what I mean? So I want you to go through that routine that you would usually do. Good man. Good strike.
Finally.
Listen,
Took a while.
more deliveries like that help me
Yep.
and yourself. Remember,
I
if you were to do that all the time, you wouldn't be off your handicap.
I
Okay, so
know.
remember, you know you've got this ability to do that. That's what probably makes it a bit frustrating, but you're not going to do that all the time.
No, I know.
And by the way, that was nothing to do with club. That was a brilliant delivery.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is just to show you, because your exact words were finally. Okay, so just to remind you. So there's why it was good. Okay. And can you see the way you've started now a couple there, more or less in the equator of the club?
Yeah.
That kind of already shows us that standard length is pretty good. Now, if you had a little inkling that you were maybe thin in the old one, you could go that quarter of inch longer. But this would suggest you certainly don't need to.
Yeah.
We kind of knew you didn't need longer, but you certainly don't need shorter.
Yep.
And again, I'm not going to do this for every shot, but I just want to show you what you've done there. Okay, so if we look at your club head speed, 80 mile an hour with a 7-iron, you're hitting down on it, in the out with a slightly close face. Beautiful draw. Okay.
Yep.
That last shot showed this. If you're within 0 point of any lie, you don't touch it.
Okay.
Okay, but we're not gonna do this for every shot.
Yep.
Regarding what the ball did, you're using a premium ball. So if we have a look at 29 peak, okay, so at least you're giving yourself a chance of hitting the likes of the 11th green and stopping it. And you said yourself, your carry, you know it very well. There you go, 168, and you didn't try and kill that, which was lovely. Sometimes when we've been on the course, sometimes it goes after a wee bit. What I would point out is the backspin.
Very low.
It's low, but that is P790 is relatively low. That's why you will not see the guys on TV using it.
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, there will always be sacrifices. Okay. If you're getting the gun out there 30, if not more, though, spin. I'm not saying it's not important, but it becomes less important because you're going to stop it with trajectory rather than like McIlroy can hit in the whole greens that others can't because of his
height.
His height, yep. Okay, so I'm going to shut up and let you hit a few. If you can do that, my friend, we will be able to give you a much better fitting. Just a wee smidgen heavy.
Yep.
It's okay.
I would still take that every day of the week.
Absolutely, would, yeah. Take away the 8th hole or the 18th. That's going to vomit onto the front edge. Yeah, you'll take it all day long. Just a smidgen heavy. Good man. And again, there's what you want your sort of 8 out of 10 shot to be.
Yep.
Beautiful. Love it. You know, proper flight. Nice hit. You're fixing your pitch mark on the green. You know, it's I know you're standing here. Oh, it didn't come back. It's brilliant. You're on the green.
Yeah.
Okay. Like at our 16th, you're hitting a very narrow green, which is great. And again, this is good. This is more like it. Very good. How did you play yesterday?
I carried us like. I unfortunately stuck one in the water on the 8th with a really bad hooky 8-iron.
Right, okay.
I should have just went for the 7 and just went for the extra distance and accepted if I went too far, at least it was going to be safe.
Back edge is always the place to be.
Yep. Instead, I was trying to get close to try and, get a couple of points back.
Sure.
But, we still, we were, 2 shots, 1 shot off the win. So
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, so this is my new problem at the minute. The way it used to be the slice was the thing. This is a lot more common now. I feel like it's closing the face and leaning too much is...
When you say leaning? Oh, right, chaffling?
Yep.
Okay.
I think those are the things that are killing me at address. So...
Well, that's an easy thing to fix. A wee bit of mirror work at home.
Yeah.
Stick in the pre-shot routine. Prevention better than cure. Very good. Hit well?
Off the face, yes.
Yep.
Just, again,
Yep.
tiny pull.
Okay. Certainly looked like off the middle. Give me one more. This is good though. I mean, when you say a tiny pool, it is a tiny pool. If we look at 5 to 8, remember side spin to put it in the context.
Yeah.
Technically it is a pool, of course it is. but it's not moving too much at all. Remember, this has to show ball flight, 528, literally hardly moving.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to hit a draw, which looks to be what your shot is today, you're certainly should be starting it slightly right of target.
Yeah.
That we push to the right.
Becoming the more common shot shape, whereas
you're certainly not as flashy as you were from the top, which is great.
Yeah, like I know, was a couple of months ago we were hitting fades on the regular.
Yeah,
so
you were just cutting right across it, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
You take your time. Beautiful. There's the one you want to bottle there, isn't it?
Fuck is in the hole, I'll be buzzing.
Let's go.
Go.
White line. Okay. Very
I'll take
good.
That. Yeah.
Okay, so just show you a couple of shots here, what you've done so far. So that sort of shows you that you are giving yourself a good chance today. Like, I've been here with elite players who haven't really had their game, and it just makes it very difficult to fit. And indeed, some of them have come back. So that's lovely.
Yeah.
Like, for your handicap, that's certainly a better. That's above average. I mean, that's very, for centeredness of strike, that's single figure stuff, which is great. Okay. If we just take a little average here, if my touchscreen ever works, I'm going to take away a couple of there's not too many, it's just a couple of, I think they were a little heavies, weren't they?
There's one or two that were a bit heavy.
Yeah. And I want to keep a nice average here as well. You'll also see things like this. I'm going to take out, the big misses left, because they just distort things and usually a lot of low spin and things like that. And it will make you look as though you've hit a little further than what you actually physically did. Okay. So there's a pretty much a nice average of what you've done with this club today. You can see there that you're launching it, within 2 degrees, give or take. It just depends on your strike. Obviously, high or low in the face will dictate different things. The good news for you is that they're not moving too much.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, you won't see that very often. Okay. This is a club that can fit all levels of golfer. I mean, there's scratch guys using these. There's 20 handicappers using them. That's what makes the 790 so incredibly versatile. Yeah, if you look at what the club's doing, the reason why we're here today is to look at ball flight as well as this. Okay.
Yep.
So there's a bit of consistency showing there, which is good. I'm loving your path, by the way. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I'm loving it. That's consistency, which is great, which makes my job easier. You can see your angle of attack's very consistent. Your path is brilliant. For your handicap, it's brilliant. What's your exact handicap again now?
16.4 is my index.
Usually, sometimes there'd be a few whoopsies in there, so that's great. And the long and the short of it is, you could walk out of here with that club, no problem.
Yep.
That club. The fourth one down there with the lie angle 2 degrees upright, there is potentially a chance there that you've maybe hit that off center and it's twisted a little bit. I'm just looking at all the rest compared to that one.
Yeah.
Or maybe low hands or something you've done a little, and remember, you're human, you're going to. You've definitely slowed down a little, which is great, and I don't mean it in a negative way.
Yeah.
You're not as flashy. We're going to try this same weight. It's just a slightly higher launch. Okay. Project X has been around for a long time. And to be honest, the reason why you've probably used your own nicely is because they're probably standard as well.
Yeah.
And you're not a million miles away. And like, even back in the old days, whenever you just looked at somebody, height, all that, you wouldn't jump out as somebody that, you need 3 degrees this way or that way anyway. So I'm just going to put this on again, and it'll be interesting. So what we're looking for here is potentially a little bit more height.
Okay.
Again, if you didn't like the feel of it, you let me know. Every shaft feels slightly different. This is the same weight. This is 120 stiff. Okay. So, and again, the reason why I'm going straight in here is I've been on the course with you. You are going to get quicker. I'm going to say quicker, not flashier, but and by the way, you're certainly not slow. Okay. The fact that you can actually get a ball flight and you can get these things right to left shows that you can handle this sort of golf shaft. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to remind you that most of your golf shots should start slightly right of the white line.
Yep.
Okay. Again, I don't expect you to go, oh, this feels so different. Okay. It's
Yep.
the Project X version. It's all about higher trajectory. Okay.
Cool. Will the higher trajectory give me more spin as well, or is it just more height, really? you're looking at?
Potentially a little bit more spin, but different kick. Do you know what kick points are?
They are something to do with the shaft.
So a high kick point, okay, gives a lower ball flight and vice versa. So there's a little bit of a higher kick point in this.
Right, okay.
So higher launch. So it'd be wrong to say probably more spin.
Okay.
It may be within 100 or something, which is so little.
Sure.
Like if you open a brand new packet of Pro Vs, you'll spin it more because it's brand new.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking teeny tiny. That's why a lot of the pros go through maybe a ball every 2 holes, stuff like that. You know, small margins.
Wish I had that sort of money.
Indeed. $5 ball. Nice. Okay, you take your time. Are you liking the looks?
I like the look of the club.
You
and
take
the
a wee
head.
practice swing there. I'm just going to put in Project X. Okay, if you can put on the same delivery, try and stick to that same regimented pre-shot routine, which would be great. Any questions yourself?
No, not at the minute.
Okay, good.
We'll probably see after I hit a couple.
Lovely golf strike.
Just a wee touch. Again, another bit of a pull.
Well, everything's starting left, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's just got to be mindful of that whenever I set up.
Again, the lie angles are 0 point, so
Yeah.
we've nailed that one in. Beautiful. Really good. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
So with the different kick point, higher launch, and potentially
Higher
are we
kick point,
expecting
slightly higher launch.
less distance then as a result?
Yeah. And again, you know, compared to some people you might play with, 30 might be high. It's not really. You want to be in that mid-30 range.
Yeah. But like whenever I
Again,
was
we all have our natural height as well. It comes from speed and angle of attack and biomechanics, all sorts of things. I mean, Rory hits it so high because he's so fast, you know. But I mean, you will have, like, there's that young kid on live, you know, Waikey Newman.
yeah.
He's fast and he flights it so low, you know. So different swings.
That wasn't a good strike there.
It's okay.
Very
Just
feel
out
like
of
it was very
interest, what
feeling.
did you think it was?
Off
Really?
the heel, yeah.
Okay, player usually knows, and there you go. So well done, good feedback. And it really was. Now, when I watch the full-time fitters, you know, when they come here, like I do my fair share of fitting now every day, so I hopefully feel like I have a pretty good account of myself. But they would talk about this shot a lot. Like I've talked a lot about your really good ones. You're going to do that because
yeah.
that's why you have a handicap. I'm going to do that as well, by the way. So if you actually look at what's actually happened there, you know, the actual shot, you're on the front right edge of the green, and that's what this game's about.
Yeah.
You know, it's about making it as easy as you can. It's about forgiveness. My own driver, I have it set up on a draw bias because my bad shot's a small push. So
Yeah.
you need to use this. This is another reason why that, you know, today your miss isn't really that bad, which is great. But there's a heel strike that you would still get away with.
For
now,
sure.
if I gave you a tailor-made club from 1980, that would probably be 10 to 15 yards shorter and certainly an awful lot further to the right, because you would just do that, the gear effect, do that straight right. You know,
Yeah.
and it would have spun an awful lot further. So let's get a few deliveries. But that's good that you can now feel it where you've hit off the face.
I think I was touch open, probably.
Okay. Nothing yet?
Oh, look at that, it was.
Pardon?
I said it was open.
Was. Good swing. And I think when you do this, I mean, you can kind of see here, you can talk about shafts, you can talk about all you want. Whenever you put a better delivery, you know, like you've hit 2 shots there, and I was nearly waiting for you to say, I wasn't doing that with the other shaft. I was nearly waiting for you to say that, and
Yeah.
fair enough. But like suddenly you've just hit as good a shot as you did with the other one because it was a better delivery. So remember, there's a big part of this that's on you as such, okay?
Like there's not too much difference between these.
No, you're comparing like for like to a certain degree different manufacturers. I just want you to hit a couple more like that because I want to see peak height.
Yep.
Okay. And by the way, I don't expect there to be a big difference. I mean, you're maybe talking 2 to 3 yards, but 3 yards is 10%, you know. So
Yeah.
but that was a nice turn.
Oh. Yeah, there's
That.
yeah. Should have stepped
Again,
off that one. Didn't like it
Those
whenever I
type of
started.
you know, try and make sure at the minute you're getting when you're practicing off turf.
Yeah.
It's been a long winter of mats.
I avoided the mats for
good.
most of winter.
It's good.
It's only whenever there was some areas that were
Yeah.
barren
Yeah.
that I busted one out. But
Yep. Really good. Really good. You've definitely got your hands a little higher. Now, I don't want to talk about technique too much, but it's great. You've definitely got yourself in a position to make it easier to shallow it and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
Okay, let's have a look at strikes. So, nothing to do with the golf club. That was you. But
Yep.
some very good there. And, you know, any of them you're not going to take back. But you can see a bit of a variance in what it'll actually do to what I'm about to show you. Just like the last one, I'm going to take away a couple of the little whoopsies. Did you feel much difference?
to be honest, not really.
Okay.
Not with the swinger.
So say
release
you
or
were in
anything.
here today and you were heading off on holiday and you had to decide right now between these 2 shafts. Here's what you'll see, and I'm actually delighted to actually show you this because it is basically what I said. There's not going to be an awful lot in it, and remember, these are also your good shots.
Yep.
So the way image shows you, there's not much difference. I mean, this is incredibly the same. Why should it be different, really? Okay. We have more spin. I'm not going to even try and bullshit you and say that that's the shaft. You've got more spin out of that because you've hit the odd one right off the middle or slightly higher in the face, stuff like that. 2 yard, you know, nothing. They're exactly the same.
Yep.
So if it was something between that and that, the best thing that I could advise you to do is to take both of them and have a wee game with them. You know, nothing better than hitting into the wind, hit them out
Yeah.
of semi-rough. Just get the feel off them. These are 120 stiffs. This is what I believe, and the only reason why I jumped in is because I know your game. You know, it just
Yeah.
makes it a little easier. I'll be interested to see what this does. Let's just show you some ball data here. So we were I was expecting potentially a little higher. You averaged 27, you averaged 27. So, you know, there would be so little in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, there's about another 4 or 5 stiff shafts there, but they would be a bit lighter. And again, I'm fitting for you getting a little better. Also, I think your bad shot's a tug left, isn't it? You know, so
It is now. Yeah.
stiffer tip stops that, and you're certainly not going to struggle. You've already seen you're not going to struggle with it. So, if you had to choose there, what would you do? Maybe it's too short a time. Even
That's
just to-
probably don't really have enough to know. Like if there's, I'd probably have more shots to get an idea of, you know, which one had
Yep.
a tighter dispersion or
Yep.
whatnot. But
Yep.
they're all very similar.
Okay. So we're gonna try the Strix on. And again, if you didn't like it, just say, whenever I'm fitting, I love it. When people say, no, don't like it, or yep, love it. You know, you can just throw it away there and get rid of it. So just so you know, standard length, so it's like for like, both 7-irons. I would have to go online to tell you exactly what loft this was compared to that.
I think that one's 30.
I'm actually going to do that because I would imagine this might be a fraction stronger.
Yeah.
120 stiff. Now this is a Modus 120. It's do you know this is 30?
I'm confident it's 30 or 30.5.
Okay, I'm gonna go and check the loft in this other one. Okay.
Yep.
And you take your time. I've got it all in the system. You hit away. Specs of ZX.
was a tad heavy.
Was. Good starting point, though.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to hit it better than that, sir. That sounded awesome.
No, that was good.
That was ripped. Very, very good. Sorry, the Wi-Fi in here is pretty poor. Okay, 31. So it should go on average 3.5 yards less. Okay. These type of clubs are a little bit more traditional. Like if I gave you a TaylorMade QI10, I mean you'll hit it 200 yards. I mean it's stupid, but it'll just come out so flat. Remember, spin is very important with irons.
Yeah.
Today, the way our greens are, can't believe I'm saying it. They're nearly too firm for April. You know, you hitting downwind into 11, downwind into 8. You need spin.
Yep.
Okay, as well as trajectory. Now, more shots like that, and that will make things very easy. That was beautiful. This should probably feel a little bit softer as well. Really good. Well done. 2 fairly impressive strikes there.
Yeah, it was nice. Like it definitely does feel softer off the face.
It's forged.
But yeah.
And you see, this is the ironic thing. Usually when it's forged, that's why it's much more expensive. You know, Titleist is 1,299. Mizuno's gone to 1.5 nearly, you know, and this is where, like, I'm not saying they're cheap, but like for 5 to pitch image at 940, it's substantially cheaper,
Yeah.
you know. And listen, Japanese, them and Mizuno, they're amazing. You know,
Yeah.
they really are. They're phenomenal golf clubs. But again, it's all about feedback in the hands and
like either I've just got real good or these are helping at least a bit. I don't know.
well, you know yourself, you can also get into range mode.
Yeah.
And, you know, confidence can breed into it as well. I want to get you to try another one that's quite new to the range as well. Although, for me personally, this might be one that actually goes a little flatter, but we'll see. That's why we're here. Very good. Very good. Be interesting just to see what the peak and the spin's like on that sort of thing.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much in it in terms of the spin at the minute, at least from what I can gather right now. But carry wise.
What I will show you for a nice bit of confidence is that.
Yeah.
Get that on camera. I mean, that's superb. I mean, that's proper good. And by the way, that shows you that you are improving. You know, nobody can teach that. You know, we can put you into positions and talk about angles and everything you want, but that's your skill there. I mean, that should make you very happy, by the way. I mean, that's beaut. And by the way, I'm not going to say for 1 minute this club is the best. You know, it's the balance, the weight, everything they got. You obviously quite like it, but
yeah,
very, very good. Now, let's get a couple more so we can compare a few numbers.
Ooh, that's the good old miss. Heavy left.
Yep. Remember, it's going to go left because the heel digs in, turns over.
Yeah.
And as you know, it won't go as far as that off turf either.
That was close to the camera.
It was very close to the unmentionable, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Little bit of
To be
early
honest-
hip extension there.
Yeah.
You were nearly 200 quid down.
I know, right? On top of what I'm gonna spend.
Right, get those out of your system there. Got a couple of nice deliveries. Well done. Well done. Beautiful. Like if it's a driver, it's all about distance. I mean,
Yeah.
I would keep on continually saying to you that it really isn't about that with irons,
No.
especially
But
if you're not.
The
You know,
dispersion is definitely a lot tighter with
was,
the
yeah.
restrictions, which are
yeah.
like there's not too much in it with the spin though.
Nope.
Which I was
No,
surprised about.
surprised. Yeah, I expect you to spin the restriction a little better,
Yeah.
or a little more. This is the very first club that we started with.
Yep.
Okay, the KBS Tour. It's one of my go-to at all times. So let me just put this in again. I'm just going to call this 2 as in the second time we're hitting it, okay?
Okay.
Obviously, you can talk about grip, size, width, all that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the manufacturers don't give you all that. I mean, even on a fitting day, they don't give you all that for obvious reasons. They'll be there all day, but it's important. I can fit you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no real science to it either. I mean, I have a very generic chart there, but you know, for some people with small hands like thicker grips and vice versa.
I got short fingers, big palms.
Thicker grip for you will also maybe help a little, not hitting it left. But
Yeah.
let's see, we got a couple of deliveries. See here. And then remember, no matter what you do here, I would definitely encourage you to game it on the course.
Yeah.
Have a little try into the wind, have a try out of semi-rough, that sort of thing. Okay. Lovely turn. Lovely turn.
Maybe a tiny bit open, was it?
It was, yeah. Right off the middle of the club though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels really good whenever you hit these well.
And do you know what? That's the thing you want to hear. Like, I love cars, as you know, and
Yeah.
you know, if I sit in it and I don't like how it feels, I'm not going to buy it. You know.
That's it.
So you know, I always think looks, acoustics, feel. You know.
I would say that I haven't noticed really anything between those two clubs for like acoustics.
And again, if I brought up Titleist 150s, if I brought up Mizunos, they would all be genuine, and you'd throw a blanket over them.
Yeah.
Irons are very much right shaft, correct length and angle.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big thing.
That was the thing. Whenever I did the Callaway one, the guy was like, "You probably just buy off the shelf," because he was like,
Well,
"You probably go standard."
I can see
across
why he
everything.
said that, because
I was shit at the day.
What's that? Sorry.
I was shit on the day.
No, but you know, he was saying that also because you know your lie would be very much standard,
I think he was even suggesting regular flex as well. Though
right? What was the justification for there?
I was just so bad at hitting the ball.
Oh right, okay, you just had a bad day.
Yeah. So you couldn't really get
Right,
enough
okay.
data to.
Right, okay.
That was a bit heavy.
And again, I mean, he can only go by what he sees that day.
Yeah.
Like the likes of the tour guys. I mean, I know for a fact that a lot of tour guys, when they're going for fittings, they'll do 4, 5, or 6 and take averages.
Yep.
You'll also find that some of the tour averages will actually have different lies as they go up and down the bag.
Yeah.
So the way we're saying, say for example, you're one flat, you got all your irons one flat. What you'll find is sometimes with club golfers, the longer irons, a wee bit harder to hit, a little bit harder to rotate, out to the right they go. So people make their 4 and 5 iron 1 degree more upright than the rest. All that. Now, this all depends. You know, tour players obviously delivering it the same all the time.
Yeah.
But whereas what we do is, okay, 1 degree flat, fair enough, right? See you in 2 weeks, and depends how much you really want to get into it. But you know, deliveries need to be fairly consistent to merit that sort of fit.
Yeah. And then as far as the number of irons I should go for, would you just say 5 down to P wedge, or would you just try?
Yeah,
4?
listen, there's no right or wrong. If we were playing links, I would probably encourage you to have a 4 iron. I don't think for a minute you need a 4 iron.
Yeah.
I really don't. The distance, like if you think if you're carrying at 165, you know, do the maths, you know, a 6 iron, 171, you know, so In general, what you would do is 5 to pitch and 1 or 2 hybrids, or 1 hybrid then into a 4-wood and a driver, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like the average club golfer, like before I hang up my boots, the average club golfer will have 7 iron to pitch, and they'll have 3 rescues in their bag. You're seeing it already on tour.
Yeah.
Dustin Johnson this week's got an 11 wood in his bag.
Yeah, wood seem to be taking.
And the guy is, he could hit anything he wants blindfolded, so
Yeah.
I think we have to take a leaf out of these guys' boat. But then it's all about launch. It's all about that launch. You could easily hit a 4-iron. But into the likes of our 10th, a good 4-iron is going to hit the front edge and run to the back.
Yeah.
If you hit it a minuscule thin, you're potentially out of bounds.
Yeah.
Whereas a rescue is going to go up here, drop and stop. It's one of the reasons why, if you look at all the data on the tour, the amount of eagles now, don't get me wrong, like any sport, the athletes are getting bigger, fitter, stronger. But hybrids do the same thing as a 1-iron, except the hybrid does that and the 1-iron did that.
Yeah.
So it's drop and stop. One of the reasons why eagles are up is simply hybrids. And a lot more 9-woods in the bag and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think for a minute you need a 4-iron. You can get one, but
Well,
the main reason why anyone has a 4-iron out there is to punch it out through the trees.
Yeah. Like I was debating not going for a 4-iron, just going 5 down.
Yep. And you save yourself more money.
Yeah. I don't even have 5 at the minute, so.
Oh, right, okay.
I've got a 5 hybrid and then 6-iron.
Right, okay. But then you would have a big gap between those 2 clubs.
Yeah, about 20 yards, 25 yards.
Yeah, it's really too big. You take your time. How'd you hit it?
Bit low on the face,
Okay.
bit heavy possibly. No, it's actually apparently okay off the face, just a bit heavy.
Yep.
Probably a bit too far back in my stance there.
Okay. I'm purposely saying not too much about that.
Ooh. Just ignore that one.
You can edit it out.
I can't. That's true. That was thin.
That's okay. Again, that's a thin that's still going quite well. It's obviously not going to quite carry the same.
Yeah.
And if you have a wee look here, you can see the dispersion's over. Now, you've got a few things you can say.
Yeah.
You've been hitting balls for nearly an hour. I've had a lot of fits by some of the world's best at Titleist, and 18 balls, and that's it. That's the cutoff. You can kind of see why.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully you're getting more and more used to hitting golf balls, so this shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah.
By the way, takeaway fitting, you've definitely improved. Like, your bad shot is so much better than what it's been, Like, if we're hitting shots from 160 into the likes of the 8th, you're in the water 2 or 3 times and you've caught the bunker a wee bit and you've hit the green an awful lot. Let's just try and get a couple more deliveries there just to show you.
Sure.
Again, I think there's not too much between the Project XLZ and this. The first time you hit this, you hit it really well. Second time, not just as well. I think that's more human error than anything.
Turn more?
I'll never forget, as of today, right? 16 handicapper. You're meant to hit 2 greens around.
Yeah.
So don't be too hard on yourself. The issue you have is that your good is very, very good. And that's probably why it frustrates you a wee bit just at the minute.
Makes the bad feel so much worse.
It does, yeah, because there's people off your handicap that wouldn't have the ability of carrying a 7-iron. That 170 on the middle of the green with a lovely soft draw.
Yeah. It's good coaching, isn't it?
Well.
Yeah.
Certainly today, what I've seen is that you're still struggling a wee bit with the strike. There's a lot of wee bit heavy. Loads of T-peg work still needed there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, after you hit the ball, you're saying, I think it was too far back in the stance. Prevention has to be better than cure. If you think it was, walk away.
Yep.
You know,
I'm really bad at not walking away.
I'll tell you
Like,
what, you'll watch this week. See the top guys in the world, they'll walk off 2 to 3 shots every single round, and that's what makes them good. You'll find some players back off them more than others, but they need to do that, and it's only good players that do it. If you ever watch Senior Cup at 11, you'll see, it's quite swirly wind.
Yep.
You'll see them just about to play, and then something, instead of going, I'll hit it anyway, walking off and reset. But certainly for me, this is the sequencing from the top again still.
Yeah.
Like you're scuffing far more than you thin. It's a wee bit heavy.
Yep.
So T-peg drills are one of the best I know. Remember that drill also up to the top 1, 2, and then hit, pause drill, and then try and get a little bit quicker from the top. When I say quicker, then put the pause from 2 to 1, and then separate it. You take your time. Beautiful.
Still got it.
and then you put on that sort of strike, which is exactly what we're after.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's just run through. So again, strike is king in this game. There you go. And there's no club doing that for you.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, that's why the likes of those Cleveland XLs are really, the XL big headed things.
Yeah.
It's for people that are hitting it all over the face. It just gives them. But there you go. The reason why that was good was pretty much middle of the club. When you do that, like what happens, it's one of your highest peak heights. It is one of your highest spins, close to 5,000, which I think with this type of club is actually quite high.
Yeah.
And, good carry, good totals, good shot. There's obviously too many little heavies in there today, really, isn't there?
Definitely the second time round.
Yeah, just, I would certainly be saying about taking a break and doing all that sort of thing. But if we were just to quickly compare again, you can see there, and this is why you can come in here any day and these things will be slightly different. So this is exactly the same club, but yet much more spin the second time, and a little bit less. That's because your centeredness of strike went up a little bit.
Yeah.
The big thing, I'm very, very happy that you can handle this sort of shaft, especially as you gradually, hopefully, get a little bit faster with the sequencing, the lower half working better. I mean, there's the 2 shots there that we've kept, boom, boom, right off the middle.
Yeah.
You can definitely see that your path has got very consistent, which is great. And we're not here to talk about how you're actually swinging. We're talking about the equipment, but it's lovely for you to see. Look at that. In the out with the slightly closed face, which in general is a draw, okay, as long as you're starting it out the right. And I think you can see there the evidence would suggest 1 degree flat would be exactly what you would need. Now, the good news for you is that whenever a club is a little bit upright, there's more chance of the heel digging in the mat. So when you hit it slightly heavy, it's exaggerated.
Yeah.
And when you hit it really good, you're still going to get a little bit of curvature, because whenever you are slightly upright, the club face is going to be pointing ever so slightly to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, so the good news for you is, to be honest, without having a launch monitor 20 years ago, whenever I was still doing this, I would have naturally put you in flat, but just by simply looking at your divot pattern as well as just looking at ball flight.
Yeah.
I know you can turn around and say you've hit a few out to the right, but they're usually your more swing.
Yeah.
When you hit it well, they'll turn over that a little bit. Just to show you, this is averaging 1.3 up. With the Project X, it was averaging 1.5, then 1.8. Now, remember, that is incredibly consistent, so that's good for you that you're consistently doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't argue with that data at all. In the out with the closed face is money time. Whenever it gets too closed, I think an awful lot of it comes down to what you do at address. We talked about that little thing.
Yeah.
Wee bit of forearm rotation on occasions. If you get a
back or
on the way through,
on
the way through. Whenever you get you actually react sometimes to the block.
Yeah.
And you over release, and it's very normal. That's actually where there's lots of research done with these tracers. Some really top pros will take the tracers away when they're teaching and take all these cells away and just don't let players look, because the first thing you're looking at is how far, what spin, and just fields and things like that. You would find some tour pros in the winter would turn all this off and just hit balls into a blank net.
Yeah.
My advice, standard length, 120 stiff would be boom, boom. Which one's better? Well, I think only you can decide. I'm probably not going to help here and tell you which one's better. There was so little in it. 1 degree flat. And then the only other thing you would need to do is grip size, which is we can do it downstairs, but I certainly wouldn't be talking about thin or anything like that because
No.
of what your tendency are. It's sort of a couple of extra tapes could be. It depends what you want for comfort more than anything.
Yeah.
If you wanted to take Strixon and that out, or if you've got your headset on P790, then listen, the less you take out the better, because you just go around circles.
Yep.
And it also depends on how you hit it. Like you stand here and you almost kind of had your mind made up because you hit the Strixons really, really well, but you want the P790s.
I hit the Strixons well.
You hit them really
but
straight.
I felt like there wasn't a whole lot in it between the two. Like spin rates were about the same.
Don't worry, I was expecting them to be a bit higher.
Yeah,
and again, you can see the spin rate was going up to 5,000 there whenever you hit it off the middle. So centeredness of strike still going to be king for spin rates. Okay, your angle of attack's down. You hit it off the middle with your speed. It's going to spin.
Yeah.
If you hit a true blade, you'll spin it more.
Yeah.
It just means that when you hit it off center, it's going to be a bit of a bigger miss.
Yeah.